Hello, hello. Welcome to A Dreamer's Experience Conquer the Chaos. My name is Sean Laurie, and as an entrepreneur and a father of four, I want to give you guys different tools or insights from either myself, my wife, or others that will not only help you as an individual, but also help you as a parent conquer the chaos.
And hey guys, my name is Tiffany Lowry, and I am co hosting alongside my husband. I do wear many hats, and the two that I am the most proud of is being a mother and a wife. We have had many chaotic moments as a family, but somehow we've always managed to conquer the chaos. And that is why I am excited to be here with you guys and share part of our journey.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
we have Jason back, guys, as promised.
Hey.
we have him back. Part one. If you haven't had a chance to listen to it or watch it on YouTube or Apple, whatever you watch your podcast on, I definitely suggest that you go on there so you can know what's going on. But just a quick recap. We're talking about just the different struggles that fathers deal with, and we talked about things from what can trigger us, certain things that impact us as we were growing up, that surfaced itself as we became a father. And it just been a wonderful conversation. And I didn't want to rush the conversation. I wanted to make sure that we could really just dive into the things that we really want to get into. And so, with that being said, I know we have a few more questions we want to dive into. Wifey's she's been the narrator. She's been taking over while we've been weighing in on these questions. So, So, I guess real quick though, how are you doing? How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great, man. Feeling great. Another beautiful week in the books, Now we here. Been looking forward to continuing the convo.
Yeah. I love it. So wifey, I guess,
All right. Well, in case you guys haven't seen it yet, which you should have by now, the last question that I had asked them was, what are some unhealthy coping mechanisms that they've used when it comes to anxiety or depression? So we dove into that, and now my next question for you guys is, have you ever gotten to a point where you don't feel good enough as a parent, and how did you get out of that mind state?
Here we go again. Y'all starting off heavy.
I'll let you take the lead because I felt like last time I was really.
You gave us some good stuff, man. But a lot of people out there don't know this is what we normally do, man.
Yes.
When me and Sean and even my family and the Lowrys get together, we always have these conversations. The kids have a beautiful time, and then when me and my brother connect on a one-on-one via phone, since he didn't move all the way out to Joe Rogan State, it's always these weighty conversations that are just needed. They're needed for all of us, man. So I just wanted to say that before we get into it. But so one more time the question. I want to really
one more time
dissect
it. Have you ever gotten to a point where you don't feel good enough as a parent, and how did you get out of that mind state?
Yeah, so I shared on last week about a couple of years ago when my wife and I had to sell our home in order for, and I didn't really unpack that, but it was just in order for us to stay financially afloat, and not just keep getting deeper into the financial mess that we were in, if I could put it like that. But even more so, it was about like her becoming a stay-at-home mom, and us just making the necessary sacrifices needed for our kids to have us just in a way that my wife and I never got a chance to have our parents. And it, as I said, my parents were amazing. They did the best that they could. But as we touched on last week, every generation should get better, right? Yeah. Every generation should get better. So I'm pretty sure our parents wanted to do things a little differently than their parents did. And and us, in that same realm, and then all the way to our kids, they will. My daughter told me the other day, she was like, yeah, I'm already seeing things that when I have, because I was asking her, did she want to have kids one day? She's like, yes, but I'm already seeing things that I want to do differently. And I'm like, oh, really? Yeah. She had a little critiquing she was doing, internally. I said, keep it to yourself. No, we had a good combo. But when we sold our home and did all of that, to answer your question, 100%, I struggled a lot for a couple of years, actually. Just, was it the right decision? Should I have fought more to keep the home? And, just who am I without this symbol of success, which is the house? I'm a homeowner. Yes. Like, now I'm a good dad because I did this. We use these material things to qualify us. But for myself, I went through some coaching and just, went on a whole journey, just in that realm of, what is the standard that I'm rising up to? And when will I be because we all have to put those markers, in our journey that tells that we can identify with and tell us that this is the marker that's telling me I'm on the right track. And I gave a couple of those last week, but before, the marker was the material things, and now the marker is the immaterial things that can never be taken away from my family. The time that we spend together, the memories that we're making. Every time every morning, I'm doing affirmations with my kids, my wife and myself, just looking them in their eyes and telling them, I love you. You are mine. And I'm devoting my life to give you everything that I have. And I'm going to teach you everything I know so you can grow up and be better than I ever was. Being able to do that every day. And my kids, they adore me as a father. It's helped me shift that narrative of, hey, you're a failure because this happened, to, man, look at the investment that you're making that doesn't have a price tag on it. Look at the investment that you're making in the kids that you're already seeing fruit. They're some of the most amazing kids you will ever meet. Well-behaved, very insightful, brave thinkers, not shy. Like these different things that my wife and I value, we're able to invest and then see it come to fruition. So felt inadequate, and now getting to this place of, hey, it's not about my circumstance changes. It's about my approach and my perception of my circumstance changing, so I can feel that adequacy that will continually build momentum as a parent.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. I think it's kind of funny. I dove obviously in this last week, but it's just funny how a lot of it circles back to finances, right? Like I talked about, before, like as a man, it's one of those things where a lot of times that's how we identify with ourselves, and so I definitely as well, struggled with that as a parent, as a husband, all those things. Like I shared before in 2017, because I wasn't working and I felt like a failure because my wife was working, right? My kids, they're going to school, but I'm like, okay, besides, daddy being able to help them with their homework and do different things like that, what else am I bringing? Right? Those are the lies I told myself. And so I think it's always goes back to, for a lot of men, I feel like it always goes back to finances.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, okay, well, what does your bank account say? If your bank account says this, okay, you'll be okay. Because even right, a lot of times as fathers, anyways, we think, if I'm bringing this amount of income and I'm doing this, like you shared before with your father, right, where he basically, he was the support system when it came financially, right, but not necessarily emotionally and things like that. It sounded like, right, but again, like, and obviously it was, even though it was a different era, I still feel like we still think like this in many ways as
Oh
God,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
You know what? Yeah, I might not be to go to your baseball game, basketball game, but hey, I bought you that new PS5, right? All right, you good.
You got the PS5, don't you?
You
All right. Well,
like
I'm your dad.
yeah, I'm gonna work these 3 jobs,
Yeah.
right? Or I'm gonna work whatever one job. I'm working 12-hour days.
Sure.
You
Sure.
don't really see me. I'm either when you waking up, I'm going, and you know when you're sleeping, I'm coming back. Whatever. You know, but we'll operate in that space and be okay with it, and not realizing the impact that has on our kids.
Oh yeah.
Right. Because
Oh,
as
yeah.
for people that have sons like we do,
Oh yeah.
they don't really get to see what a man is supposed to do, what a father is supposed to do. So now they're growing up thinking, okay, as a father, as a husband, as a man, you just work. That's what you
Oh
do.
yeah.
That's
yeah.
how you fall in love. You know,
Yeah.
you pop up occasionally to different events, but that's what we do. That's what we see, right? And then for our daughters, oh yeah, you know what? You're not gonna necessarily get that affection, that love, but they love you because you know what? They bought you a diamond ring, whatever, a bracelet, and then they're gone. Now those women grow up. Okay, so financially, so I just need a guy that's going to be able to pay.
Yeah.
Because that's what my mother did, right?
Yep.
So I just need as long as you have money, we could talk. Because that's what was
that's how
love.
I was trained.
Yeah. That's love to me. Love is your bank account. So, you don't have whoopty whoop. I can't deal with you, right? And that's a topic in itself. But
oh yeah.
So it's one of those things that all these different lies we tell ourselves. And so for me, how I was able to get out of those issues was to have a different view on how I look at money.
Sure.
And the way I was able to do that, honestly, is because of her. Because me and her have two different ways of looking at money, honestly.
Interesting.
Right? 2 different ways. I'm the penny pincher, and she's like, oh, no, this will help us long term. I'm like, no, it won't. Like, and sometimes she's right, but then other times, like, I just feel like you're just trying to state your case. This is not. This is really not.
Yeah.
But again, even though me and her are different in that ways, I have rubbed off on her. She has rubbed off on me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, I got this deal on this, or I'm like, oh yeah, I guess, let's get this. Those different things as value, but
balance.
But that's not the only thing though, right? Like that's not the foundation. Right. And so many households, I feel like the foundation is strictly finances.
I see.
You know what I mean? Finances is a important part. I'm not saying that. But especially when you have a family and you're raising kids, right? Your kids will not remember what they did for their 3rd birthday. Right? They're not going to remember that you spent $3,000 or whatever it was, have this huge party for their, and maybe that's just me being a penny pincher. Like, I'm not one of those people that's big on having like a huge birthday on their first birthday because I'm like, I'm doing it for me. I'm not doing it for my kid. My kid don't care. You know what I mean? That's just me though. But my kid will remember at 8 years old, at 10 years old, at 7, whatever it was. Hey, we went to the park. We played catch. Hey, you know what? I played dress up with my daughter. Right? We did little sing-alongs together. What was it? Was it a chanto or what is that?
A canto. We don't talk about Bruno, no.
Yeah. About, like my girls is gonna remember me singing with them, but I be dancing and stuff like that. Like they're gonna remember those things,
of course,
those moments. Because I can tell you right now, I remember way more moments than I remember what my parents got me.
The most to interrupt real quick. They say the most valuable thing that we have in life, the most valuable commodity is time.
Absolutely.
It's time.
Absolutely.
Your kids, your kids will never know how much money went through the house.
Absolutely.
Oh, they made $200,000 this year. They made $500,000 that year when I was 2. No, all they're gonna remember was the time.
Yeah.
The time you spent, the time you invested in them. That's it. We can never get time away, but we can always get money back.
I definitely agree with, and that's another thing. You actually stuck on another point where when you start understanding, when you have a different relationship with money, you understand that when you're doing certain things, money will gravitate towards you.
Sure.
You don't have to necessarily search for money.
Sure.
That's a whole nother deeper thing. But
oh yeah.
but yeah, that's just one of those things that I feel like as I had to really just think differently, right? Because that toy, whatever my kids like, was it dinosaurs right now, my youngest. So whatever dinosaur toy, that dinosaur toy will break. Right? That's gonna break
within days.
Yeah. And then it'll be thrown away or whatever the case is. And they could be, I really want this toy. Right? Well, cool. But in the next year or two, they're not gonna remember that toy.
No.
But what they will remember is, oh, Dad, you know what? I remember we went to Chuck E. Cheese. And that was so fun. We were playing games, and you know what? Oh, Dad, I remember you took it. Well, there's no beaches out here, but I remember you took us to the beach. There is lakes out here, so to the lake, different things, like those experiences.
I remember being with you.
Exactly. Because I remember going to Big Bear, growing up. I remember doing those type of things, but I can tell you, I don't remember a lot of the stuff I got.
Yeah.
You know.
Sure.
So. Yeah.
That's good, man. That's good. Yeah. That's good. I would say too, just to piggyback in that realm, different things that I've had time to do, you know, just with living a simplified life, not overly and unnecessarily complex, is going on. And I know you do the same thing, but going on like daddy-daughter dates.
Yeah.
You know, so I have 2 daughters and a son, for those that don't know. And with each daughter, I'm able to do it much more frequently now.
Yeah.
But one-on-one time with my oldest, Lael, and we get a chance, and she gets the chance to tell me what's going on in her life. You know, she told me, Dad, they were talking about boyfriends at school. And I remember what you told me, that, you know, I don't need to worry about that. Right. You know, so she it's funny that she exposes different things to me, to where it's like, we were just at home all day yesterday and you said nothing. But once we got alone and had this time together, now you feel as if, you know what, I should share something that he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing with my 7-year-old daughter, Jaya, and even not a daddy-daughter date, but we call it a daddy-son hangout with my son, Judah. You know, we go, I take him to the movies or Chuck E. Cheese, just me and him one-on-one time, you know, to the point to where they ask for it, like, hey, I want time with you.
Yeah.
They never ask me for money. You know, when we're in the store, they may ask for a toy, but the number one thing my kids ask for me is, I want to spend time with you. And they say, not with them, just me and you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. When you do that every day.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, so you know that they're accustomed to getting it. Yeah. So they're like, I crave it now, because we crave what we had that we want again. You know?
Yeah. So true.
It's funny. It's funny that you guys mentioned that, because you know, Junior, he plays basketball. So like this week I wasn't feeling good. I don't know if I had a cold or my allergies or whatever, but on Wednesday he was getting ready to go to his game, and he was like, you know, he knew that I wasn't feeling good, and he was like, oh, you know, Mom, are you gonna come? And you know, and he's so accustomed to me going to his game. And you know, I was like, oh dang, like, why is he asking me that? But obviously, you know, he knew that I didn't feel good. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go. Like, why are you? It's not even a question. And he was like, oh, well, you know, I know that you don't feel good. And I'm like, you know, I told him, I said, hey, it doesn't matter how bad I'm feeling or whatever. As long as I am breathing, I am going to be at any game that you have that I can make.
There we go. There we go.
Oh, okay. And then, you know, he ran off with Sean, and you know, I was like, yeah, like, that's not even, you know. So I think that's kind of cool that you guys mentioned that time. Yeah.
And when he ran off feeling secure.
Yep.
He ran off feeling validated.
Yeah.
You know, and just filled up with love. Like, my mommy, she just, like, those are the moments. I just got to pause right there. Those are the moments.
Yeah.
To where they find something out about you, and that something is for their benefit. That something is the most impactful thing we can do, is affirm our kids and how we feel about them.
Yeah.
The more they find that out, because they'll never understand how much we love them, right?
No.
But the more they find that out, the more they are able to function at the highest level possible for them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Yeah. 20 minutes in on one question, huh? Break it up.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Last question to close it out.
Okay, let's see.
Another 15, 20 minutes. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, last question.
Mm-hmm.
How can we, as parents, help our children combat mental health issues?
Mm-hmm.
I
got a lot on that.
I think, well, like you touched on it too, like that affirmation.
Yes.
Affirmation is huge. Also letting them understand their value, right, within themselves. Understanding that, again, stuff that we still working on as well, obviously, but what social media says, what you might see on TV, those different things, right? Because that's another thing with TV. I'm very conscious what the kids watch, because it's programming your kids. I feel, right?
100%.
There's certain things that you'll see, and now so they're like, oh, like, for example, like I remember, she doesn't think this anymore, but our youngest daughter, for example, she thought basically she wished her skin was white. Right?
Sure.
She would see like on YouTube, she would see like the little videos of girls, but there was never any black kids, never even kids, right? That she would see that playing with dolls and things like that. And so I had to be conscious of that. And so that's why, we constantly make sure that we tell our kids, hey, your skin is beautiful. Hey, love your hair, all these different things, right? And we had to make sure that we're also what they're watching, we're paying attention to it, right? Because if not, the world will tell you what your kids are. The world will tell you what the value is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The world will tell you, that your daughter should be out here twerking and doing only fan pages because that's where the money is, right? Right, like that's what it tells you right now. Like honestly, like okay, you're if you're quote unquote a baddie, if you're a woman that's attractive, you should be doing this.
Yeah,
you should be on here selling cakes, and I ain't talking about a bakery, right?
Yes,
like
yes.
That's what you should be doing. Like that's what it is. And then if you let it too, right, then our sons can be programmed and think that, what, you have to spend your whole paycheck to keep these women.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Matter of fact, there is no good women.
Right? So true. That's a narrative that's going around.
Exactly. Right. All these women, they just, they just out here just wilding out, which isn't true. But that's the narrative, right? Just all these different things, these toxic traits that we have now accepted, because now you can't speak up on anything. You can't say anything. If you say that, you're all of a sudden you have some type of phobia, or you're being insensitive, or so you have to be very conscious of what your kids are watching, what they're being programmed, because if not, they might see something of a dog and I don't know, and a teen are dating, right? And that's the thing you're supposed to be doing. You're like, wait, what? Like, where did this come from? Oh yeah, I saw it on YouTube. So that's what we're supposed to be doing, right? Just these things, that these fake narratives. I feel like that we have to be so cautious of when it comes to our kids, and making sure that they understand their wealth. Because if they're able to understand their wealth and their value, it can help them with their mental battles that they're going to deal with. They're still going to deal with battles. That's what's happening. Like I told my oldest before, like, man, it sucks because I know I can't prevent you from getting your heart broken. Like there's a good chance, of course, in my eyes, I hope, that one guy you date and you guys marry and it's a fairy tale. Right? It's a fairy tale ending and all that.
Hope for the best.
Yeah, but I know reality. In reality, there's a good chance that you're going to have different relationships and they're not going to work out.
Sure.
Right. And
at least one of them.
At least one. Right. And there's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah.
But I can instill these values, right? These morals, let you know what your worth is. And that can help combat some of those mental hurdles you are going to deal with, because you are going to deal with them.
They're coming. Yeah.
That's just part of life. You just can't avoid it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would say on that, as far as me, what I would do, or what I do now, I guess, as a parent too.
Yeah, and myself, man, I think that's all good. Everything you said, I'm in full agreement with. And in that same realm, I'm big on I'm big on preparation. And that's what you're saying. Preparing them for what's to come, because you know what's to come.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the number one thing parents can do for their kids. That's our number one job. Is the Bible says, train up a child in the way that he or she should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. So our primary duty is to train. And whenever someone is training, any athlete that's training, they're training because of what's to come.
Absolutely.
We're not training just because of training in and of itself, but I'm training because I'm trying to prepare myself for the obstacles that I'm going to face, and not just prepare just so I can face them, but so I can conquer them. Which brings us to the conquer the chaos. I see that. You know how I do.
Yeah.
But the way I would say I do that, with my children for mental health. First and foremost, I would say a parent can't, what did Jesus says? The blind can't lead the blind, otherwise they both fall into a ditch, right? So the first and foremost thing I have to do is to get a grip on my mental health myself. Because how can I teach them what I have not learned? So if there's any parents out there, because I know I'm looking at the time coming to a close in a few minutes, but if there's any parents out there that's saying, what's the first thing I can do to help my kids? Well, help yourself. You can't give what you don't have, or reach out for help from awesome coaches like Sean and Tiff. Reach out for help. Just for someone to partner with you in the parenting journey, because you don't have to do it alone, and you shouldn't do it alone. We should be in a community of some sort, piggybacking things on each other. But that personal responsibility is what I'm huge on. Who am I? I need to know who I am. I need to know what my assignment is for each one of my kids, because each of one of them are different. And I need to analyze them and study them so much so that I'm able to offer them things that are applicable to their journey. And to that's speaking in a macro level, right? But on a micro level, I did some coaching with one of the pastors that has impacted my life, Richard Hobbin. Richard Hobbin, I went through some coaching with him in 2020, and he taught me something that I wanted to share in this segment here that really impacted my life, and I've been teaching my kids. But just if we get into a philosophical perspective, different people have different perspectives on what humans are, our existential value. I said we was going to get a little deep, but I believe that and I've learned this from Richard, but I believe that we are spiritual beings. We all are spiritual beings. And this is the way God has designed us. We have a body. We are spiritual beings. We have a body. We are spiritual beings. We have a soul, and we live in a body. And there's another guy I follow, a fitness guy, David Goggins. Many people know him. He has a large social media presence, even though he hates social media, which is hilarious. He's like, I'm on here once a week just for you, my 3 million followers. But he always says something that I adopted that correlates with what I learned from Pastor Richard, which is the most important conversation you will ever have is the conversation you have with yourself. That's the most important conversation you'll ever have. So I had to learn that. And it has helped me overcome panic attacks, feelings of inadequacy, because now I understand we all know that our minds, because we're talking about mental health, our minds have the ability to go places that we don't want them to go.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, on social media, or even just walking down the street, you can see things that you don't want to react to or you don't want to obsess over, and you end up doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, so now my mind, quote unquote, the proverbial have a mind of its own. We heard that before.
Yeah.
But what I've learned is for myself, and what I'm teaching to my kids is, I actually can control my mind. I actually can speak to my mind and tell it what to think. And this, you know, we understand this on the lowest form of like affirmations. Let's get up and do affirmations. But even in different moments, like my kids, my youngest, he was talking about having bad dreams, and especially my baby daughter Jaya, she dealt with like having bad dreams. And I said, repeat. I would literally have to get up in the middle of the night and tell her, repeat after me. I am Jaya. I am God's child. I'm not going to think these things anymore. Right? I'm safe. I have nothing to fear. And as she began to speak these things, and I experienced this myself, but as she began to speak these things, the anxiety that she was experiencing, right, from these, like they were extreme night terrors, like beyond night terrors, to where they begin to affect her in the daytime, like very extreme. But as she began to speak these things, she began to take control of her mind, right? And as she began to take control of her mind, well, then she began to think on things that she wanted to think on. I like that. And that's I believe that's just the power of humanity. That's the power that God has given us. Like if I'm thinking something negative, if I'm having toxic thoughts, I literally can tell myself I'm not going to think this anymore.
Yeah.
Instead of just, oh, I can't control it. I keep thinking it and I can't control you know? Yeah. So as I learned that for myself with dealing with having panic attacks and just, you know, negative cycles of thought, right? And I begin to speak to myself in a certain way that helps subside things and make me, and just give me more control over who I am and what I think about. Yeah. Well, then I said, I actually can teach my kids this, because if I'm just learning this, you know, at 37 years old, right? Then what happens if my daughter learns this at 7 years old? Wow. So she's going to grow up having tools that I never had. Oh, wow. So I really am breaking cycles. Yeah. You know? So yeah, helping my kids deal with mental health is, of course, with all of the things that we've shared, showing them love, spending quality time, you know, also with, you know, their diet. I'm very concerned about what my kids are eating, because that affects our mental health. The serotonin that's in our brain, certain foods can help aid the development of that, which can it increases your mood, puts you in a better mood. You know, you're eating too much sugar. Well, sugar literally is proven scientifically to lower serotonin, you know? So, you know, if it's not worked out, because that's just a bunch of energy that you're putting in your body. If it's not worked out, if it's not dealt with appropriately, then you literally can have such a low, because it gives you such a high. You can have such a low that you experience depression. So I want to attack it from every different angle. The spiritual angle, you know, with our faith being the anchor of all of this, you know, the biological angle of how we take care of our bodies through diet and exercise, the emotional angle, you know, of being intimate with each other, you know, all of these different angles. We have to use every approach. And I think it's through mediums like this, Conquer the Chaos, what you guys are doing, that's helping change, you know, the cycles that many families have in our generation today, of being a victim of mental health, rather than, hey, it's my mental health and we all can get healthier. It's just a matter of knowing how and implementing what we know. I'll stop it there. Knowing how.
I like that. Real quick too, as we about to close out, I just wanted to circle back, because you said like you had to ask those questions within yourself first, right?
Sure.
What do you do though with those parents? Like you said, like, hey, you know, either get you a coach, or, you know, if you have to speak to a therapist, whatever you need to do. But what you do to those that they know that they can't necessarily do it alone, but they're being prideful, especially you know, in the line of business I'm doing. I notice a lot of times the mothers are more willing to get that help.
Sure.
But the fathers are more prideful, right?
Sure.
Especially as men, but prideful.
Yeah. I think there's like a lot of people still feel like there's a stigma behind therapy, behind asking for help, all of that.
Oh yeah.
So what would you, just, you know, a suggestion, I guess, for those that, you know, maybe a father that's watching or something like that, what is something you would just suggest for them to get over that hurdle, right?
Sure. I would say, as you've already alluded to, if you are prideful, we know pride doesn't lead us anywhere good. You know, we know our arrogance doesn't lead us anywhere good. It only leads us to destruction. So the first and foremost thing you must do is humble yourself. Begin to live a life of humility. The Bible says, those who raise themselves high, God will bring you low. And those who bring themselves low, God will raise you up. You know, so if you want to operate in a way that's most conducive to who you are as a human, you know, humility is the number one thing. And I would also quote a pastor in Hollywood, my godbrother's pastor of a church called Mosaic, Erwin McManus. He's a philosopher. He's a great man. And I read his book, The Way of the Warrior, which dealt with anxiety. And I got a lot of principles from there as well. But one of the things he said was, the future belongs to those who have the courage to create it. I say it one more time. The future belongs to those who have the courage to create it. So to all of the dads out there, to all of the moms out there, it's up to you to create the future that you want to have. It's not up to the government. It's not up to your own understanding of things, you know, completely. It's up to you to create the future by accessing every resource that is available to you. So create the future that you want for yourself and your children by taking the necessary steps to bring about health, whether it's physical health, spiritual health, or as we're talking about today, mental health. There are so many resources to help us get better and get healthier in every regard. So if you humble yourself and just admit, as we all have to come to the conclusion of one day, that we don't know everything, and I probably need help from others who may see things differently, who may have more experience, or whatever the case may be. But I need help. Jason needs help. Sean needs help. We all need help. The future belongs to those who have the courage to create it. Create your future by taking the necessary steps to growth. And whatever that may be, I say do it. So, for me, I want to create the best future possible by the actions I take today. So, you know, allow your present to dictate your future, and tuning in to podcasts like this, you know, connecting with people like yourself, I think is a good start.
I like that. Man. Man, I mean, I hope you guys are enjoying this like I am. We definitely gonna have to set up another time, just, you know, on just on so many different things, man. Because like I said, guys, Jason is so knowledgeable and wears so many different hats. So, you know, down the line, we definitely gonna have to have you back on. But
I would love it, man. I enjoyed this, and thank you for having me. You know, I appreciate the opportunity, and I definitely would love to come back. You know, ASAP.
I would love it, man. And for those, remember, guys, you know, if you're listening or watching, make sure you subscribe on podcasts. It's on all platforms, or YouTube as well. Also, make sure you guys join the Facebook group. If you're watching on YouTube, the link will be in below, so you'll be able to click on there to join the Facebook group, No Perfect Parent. Just a community where we uplift and help one another and things like that. But again, guys, before, you know, we get going, I like to remind you parents that you guys are an inspiration, and to never downplay the impact that you have on your loved ones. And just remember every day that you guys are conquering the chaos. See you guys next week.